Hello, hello. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast from the Impact Power Sports Studio, where for 5 years I was lovey-dovey. You're like, what is that? That's George Thorogood. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Where we have been doing our thing here for quite some time. Thank you for checking out the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. Personal adventure number one today is the background and the information officially about where I will be doing my my thing, morning radio, come Monday. Isn't that a Jimmy Buffett song? I guess I'm in the mood for reminding myself of songs that I like. Q100. Q100Michigan.com. A little bit of background. Q100 is a 60,000 watt radio station that you can actually hear over the air radio from Clare, Michigan, which is like the center of Michigan, pretty much, all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge, and from lakeshore to lakeshore. You can be sitting there on the shores of Lake Huron, and you can call somebody on the shores of Lake Michigan and say, hey, are you listening to Easy? Yeah, I'm listening to Easy. Oh, my God, great. On Q100. Starts Monday, 6 a.m. I'm very, very excited about it. The story behind it is has a few twists and turns. How quickly this fell out of the sky. And I guess everybody else thought that I would work with this job, except I never considered it. First of all, if you want to be able to hear it, you can download the Q100 app. So if you go to the App Store or wherever you go on Android phones, or just stream it from your desktop or your laptop, Q100Michigan.com, you would just search Q100 Michigan and download the app, and then you can check out the show. The show is called The Zane Asylum, Q100 Michigan with Eric Zane. So for years now, I have been doing the Zane Asylum on this radio station, and I've made fun of myself, and I've said, oh, yeah, it's on the highly coveted midnight to 2 a.m. air shift. I'll be going in several different directions, giving you the background of how this all happened. But for 4 years, I have been, I would make a show right here, and they gave me the freedom to pick all the music for the Zane Asylum. I didn't think up the name. Station number 2, Jerry, likes to call himself number 1, but his wife's number 1. Number 2 was like, yeah, how about we call it the Zane Asylum? And, I'm like, whatever. I'm not really big on picking the names of the shows or anything like that. But it stuck, and it's been years. So that's kind of like the brand. It makes sense to make the morning show the Zane Asylum. However, when it came time to getting ready to do this morning show, same guy, Jerry, JC, number 2, he goes, I got a name for the morning show. I go, okay, what is it? He says, we'll call it A Cup of Insanity. And the look on my face is the same as the feeling I had inside of, it just doesn't seem to work. But I didn't say anything. I was like, whatever, sounds good to me. Well, then I got in front of number 1, which is his wife, the multi-talented Cheryl, and she goes, what are you calling the show? And so then she found out on Cup of Insanity, and she goes, no. She goes, just call it the Zane Asylum. I go, sounds good to me. I go, I don't care what you call it. She goes, no, it's if you spent years here on the Zane Asylum. That's what you got to go. That's what you got to go with. because she likes everything that sucks. Okay? Oh, shit. Now, here I am telling a story, and we've got spam, whatever, trying to... Hang on, I got to get rid of this. Yeah, a cup of insanity doesn't work at all. For starters, you want to stick with what you've used before. I mean, it isn't like I'm a household name, but at the same time, I have been on the air at that radio station for 4 years. You probably want to stick with that. That's what makes sense. No one's going to get it. It's just going to sound like I'm saying the word insanity wrong. That's what it's going to sound like. Amanda says, I didn't say I liked it. I just said it wouldn't be bad. That's you saying you like it. It's not. It is bad. It's very bad. After thinking about it, it's extremely bad. Don't start anything today. All I want to do is tell the story. I don't want to put up with you. Okay? That's a one thing I don't want to do on this day is put up with you today. So just get ahead of yourself and button it up. I don't want to put up with Amanda, her usual horse shit. God damn. All right. So, let's see. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks and a few days. Even the week before that. Okay, so 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Jerry, JC, from this radio station, Q100, reaches out to me. He says, EZ, we need a morning guy on Q100. Do you know anyone? And I said, well, I'll ask around. Day passes. He calls me back. Stand by. He says, EZ, what do you think of free beer and hot wings? Now, I had tipped you off that they had something to do with this story because of this conversation that I'm about to tell you right now. What do you think about free beer and hot wings? And I go, well, speaking on a professional level only with you. Because personally, I obviously have a problem with them, as you know. But can this work for you? And I said, well, first of all, the problem number one is you play music in the morning. You have actual content that you've built the radio station on for the last 10 years. People know what to expect when they turn on your radio station. If you put on a show that goes from that level of content to all talk, you are really starting out this game in a difficult manner. It's one thing if you have a morning show that gets fired or you're replacing that already talks a lot and you put them on. It's an entirely different thing when you go from all music to, you are literally going to have to reshape the audience. And sometimes it doesn't work. And well, a lot of times it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. A lot of times it doesn't work. And that would be horrible for you. I said, but the good news is it is free. You don't pay a dime for it out of your pocket. It's a barter show. And they love markets like yours, small, because a lot of times you have stations that just can't afford to put anybody on the air. He goes, well, that's not a problem, but I just don't have anybody. And I said, also, the content that they actually do, and he interrupts me, he goes, yeah, I know, I see. It's a lot of like games and things like that. I go, games and subject matter what they'll choose to talk about on a regular basis is a little annoying. And you've got a real mixed bag of personalities that just will not meld with Northern Michigan. I mean, Northern Michigan, if they're exposed to two young chicks and, extremely woke, not that that's a bad thing, but aren't afraid to speak their minds about that, I don't know if that's necessarily going to fly with your audience. And it isn't that I myself would or would not be afraid, but they for sure are going to talk about things that are not going to align with the people that live in and around Northern Michigan. Plus, you have no music. So that's what they're forced to listen to. I said, from my personal, professional perspective, I don't think it would work. And he goes, no, there's no way it would work. And I go, okay. He says, see if you can find me somebody else. I go, no problem. So I reached out to a couple souls, and then I got to thinking about WLAV in West Michigan. And it was 3 Fridays ago and a few days. Cole writes, it's a shit kicker town or area. You don't want whining bitches on the radio and Kelly. Patrick says Maitland brings the hard-hitting topics like cupcakes and colors. On Thursday's edition of Who Are These Free Beers, we will be breaking down the discussion on the Free Beer and Hot Wings show, the shape of butter. I know that sounds odd. They always sound odd. They were having a discussion about the football player who retired, the fucking hiker for the Eagles, Kelsey. And then that topic finished. And then Freeber dives right into, okay, hey guys, did you know that there's more than one shape for butter? That sounds like I made it up. And they talked for 10 minutes about the shape of butter in different parts of the country. I guess in some parts of the country, there's sticks. And in other parts of the country, they're kind of like blocks of butter. Huh. So I reach out to, I'm thinking about, okay, who can I get for this job? And Greg Henson, Michelle McCormick, and Travis Gibbs on WLAV. I'm like, maybe they would get a chance to send what they're doing, syndicate it up north. Maybe that would be something that they would be interested in. So first thing I did was I texted Greg Henson from WLAV, and I said, hey, do you know anybody who'd be interested in a morning gig up north? And if you don't, would you be interested in sending WLAV up north to syndicate it? And he answered my first question with, yeah, I know someone who would take that job. Who should take that job? You. And then he wrote, in answering your second question, yeah, I'd love to hear more. So I call him up and I have a conversation with him. And the first thing he says is, yeah, you should do that job. I go, well, I don't think logistically that would work. I'm not traveling. And that's it. And I don't think they're interested. Nothing has been said to me about this. And he goes, oh, okay. Well, yeah, we could definitely pull that off. Send what we're doing up there. I mean, can you like introduce me? I go, absolutely. I'll take care of it. And we'll probably have a conversation in the next day or so. Maybe you two will hit it off, and then you can be heard on another station. How does that sound? Make a little extra money. It's a great opportunity. It's a 60,000 watt signal. It would basically, WLAV would cover more than 2/3 of Michigan at that point. At least your show would. Excuse me. Okay, great. Hang up with him. Call JC on Q100. He picks up. Hello. Hey, JC. So anyway, I just spoke with this Greg Henson at WLAV, and he says, and I start saying that, and he goes, "Hey, hold on a second." I go, "Yeah, okay, what?" He goes, "Do you want this job?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah. You have a studio. We could just do it right from your place." And I go, "Yeah, what? I cannot believe this. You could have knocked me over with a feather." I was like, "Whoa." I just had a conversation with this dude, Greg Henson, and the first thing he said to me was that, and I just didn't see this coming. He goes, "Well, you'd be my number one choice, but I just didn't think you were interested because you got all this stuff going on with the podcast." And then Cheryl, his wife, the number one, she said, "Why don't you ask Eric?" And I actually said to her, "No, he won't. He's got a million things going on. He won't be able to do it. There's no way." Well, immediately the gears start going in my head. I said, "Well, if I can do it from home, that changes everything." Okay. I would do the show and then just start my podcast a couple hours later. Everything else is business as usual. Yeah, I am interested in that gig. By the next day, we had worked everything out. We had talked money. We had talked logistics, how we're going to make this happen. And it kind of all just fell into place, I guess. And so that was it. And I am now talking about it freely. They have posted me on the website, and this to me is special because, well, first of all, it's kind of cool that I had actually been on the air on that show, even though it was midnight to 2. But I mean, I have a presence on the radio station, so it actually makes perfect sense. If you have questions, by all means, Ryan writes, have they fortified your internet? That happens Friday. I actually have a engineer pal who I've mentioned before, Dave Grant. He is, oh my God, the level of expertise on Dave. Dave is the old engineer at Cumulus, and he was hired in a contracting capacity to come in and supervise the setup of everything I need. So that's happening as we speak. And then Tyler writes, Huge's first question after finding out about the gig: how much money are they paying you? That's actually true. That is actually true. How much are you getting paid? I was like, hey, let's not worry about that. You know, I'm happy. This is a great opportunity. So there's a lot of upside to this. I'm extremely stoked about it. And Aram says, have you decided what will be the first song you will play when you are live as hell bad? Let me say this. When I start this first show, they have music picked out. Now, I have the freedom to play whatever I want. Within reason. I'm not going to play fucking MC Hammer. But I probably won't mess with the music, at least right away, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very nervous about this. I'm not so nervous about when I'm actually speaking into the microphone and talking to the audience on Q100. There's just a few moving parts that is a little foreign to me. I have one computer monitor in front of me now. I will have 3 on Monday. You know, I have now a set of things that I have to concern myself with. The IT setup that I will be using it was described to me as like a mirror of what is seen in the actual studio. And without getting too far down the inside baseball rabbit hole, whenever you do something new, there's just a little bit of nervous energy. But The way it was described to me is there's a guy who is the operations manager. His name is JJ. And he talks about this other dude on the air. And he goes, look, this guy is technologically so inept. And if he can figure this out, I know you can figure this out. So that's literally what I'm hanging my hat on. The fact that the guy who doesn't know anything is able to master this. So it's just a little different. And look, this is all I'll tell you. Don't judge me on anything you hear. It's okay to laugh at what you hear, at the things that happen when it's going to sound like an airplane crashing into the ground or a train wreck or something like that. But don't hold it against me. It's going to get better. The discussions I had with station personnel and powers that be and people on the street and people who know about this, they're going to be like, well, what can we expect? I was like, well, again, I'm a new guy on there in Morning Drive. The last thing I'm going to do is just kick in the door and shock the shit out of these people with full-on Eric Zaneisms. You know, the things I say on this podcast, you're not going to hear those on the radio. There's a whole litany of things that you will only hear on the podcast that I would never dream of bringing up on the radio. This is presenting morning show style with music. The station was built on music. It will continue to be built on music. Okay? If there was ever a time that we were going to start to get more adventurous in what we talk about in between the songs, this would be a long process. And even then, I just don't see it happening. You know, I expect short intervals of time, and there's things called service elements. What time it is, the weather, news headlines, things like that. Contests, you know, give away tickets to this, give away a lottery ticket, give away a gift certificate. This is a local radio station, so I have to hold true to that, and that is what I am planning to do. We're not reinventing the wheel here. This isn't just go in and try to change things. My goal is to stay as true to what the radio station is built on for the past 10 years. Ryan says, sounds like new material is inbound for Who Are These Zanes? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now, the only thing I'm concerned with right now, I'm glad you mentioned that, because eventually that will happen. I want to be able to take the material that I talk about on that show and make it available on like the Patreon, whatnot, things like that. They also have an opportunity for you to listen on their app on the on-demand section. So you can listen to whatever the hell's going on. But, yeah, you know, I fully expect things that happen on that show to be able to be picked on and made fun of. I would love that. Nick writes, can you play any song or does it have to be in their library? It's a great question. Let me just give you a little bit of background on this, because typical radio stations, they have a playlist and they stick to the playlist. And the way they get the playlist is they have a consultant, and then they'll do what's called a focus group or a music test. Seriously, this is inside baseball, but it's pretty interesting. Let's say you're Joe Blow, run-of-the-mill classic rock radio station. You sit 100 people down in a room, and you play them 5 seconds of a classic rock song. And those people who are paid a handful of dollars and given free Jimmy Johns then rate it by love it, dislike it, know it but don't like it, know it and love it. And they're doing this. This is research. And then the research firm tabulates all that information. And out of all the songs that they've quote unquote tested, they take the ones that score the best. And then that's your playlist. And that's how they do it. It's been that way for decades. Q100 does not. Up until just a couple of years ago, the first 8 years of their existence, everyone who worked at the radio station had zero experience working at a radio station. The only person who had any experience working at a radio station was Cheryl Coyne. Cheryl Coyne is the number one, okay? And she has been selling radio advertising for years, but she's not a programmer, as far as I know. At least that's what I was told, or hasn't been on the air. So the people that run the radio station, they're like, well, we don't want to do it that way. We're just going to go and play the songs that we think are appropriate. This is beyond deep cuts. You're looking at rock music from, fuck, man. I've heard Elvis Presley on that radio station, all the way to now. You just hear a lot of shit that you have never heard before. Even some of the music that Nick over there, who just asked this question, likes, you would hear day parted, which means you'd probably hear it only at night or maybe on the weekend. And the list goes on. The playlist, which is a term that it's constantly growing, is 6,000 to 7,000 songs. When I first started listening to Q100, I was like 2-3 songs in a row I would hear, and I was like, I have never heard these fucking songs before. I'm like, from my personal opinion, it's almost too deep. It's almost too unfamiliar, but whatever. Ryan says, why is your Friday show running shorter? 8:50 end time. Great question. Because the show is 6 to 10, but probably the last time I'm going to talk is going to be at 9:50. But then on Friday, it'll be 8:50. Because at 9 a.m., they have a show. It's called Northern Focus, and JC records it. And I think what this is because this is a local community-based radio station. Make no mistake. The number one goal of the radio station is to super serve a local community. So, you're going to be having people on who might be local luminaries, maybe charitable events. And so this is almost like in line with like a public affairs show. And JC, who's number 2, that is Cheryl's husband, Jerry. He's the guy that said, hey, why don't you work here? He does that show. So I finish up, and then JC takes over for that show. Cole says this is the kind of radio station I like. We don't need to hear the same 15 songs every hour. And then when it comes to me, I'm getting back to music. JC says, well, you've been picking the music for the Zane Asylum all by yourself for 4 years. So I trust you to play appropriate songs. So you can play whatever the hell you want. And I go, that's fucking cool, JC. Are you serious? He goes, yeah. He goes, I take a look at the playlist that you send me for your 2-hour show, and then I listen to your shows, EZ. And then when I hear something, I go out and I'll add it into our playlist. I'll rip the song. I'll add it. It's shit I've never heard before. So that's basically it. That's how they've ran the radio station since they purchased it 10 years ago. And now I am part of it. And so and one of the things they said to me is they go, EZ, we want you to promote that podcast. Promote that podcast. And I go, honestly, man, I don't want to do that. At least not to start. You got to understand here. The podcast is a different animal. And eventually, perhaps, but let's not overwhelm these people with too much. To me, the number one thing is on the air, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, playing the music, doing the things that I'm supposed to do as a new host, getting these people used to me. I don't want to say, oh, yeah, I know you love this, and thanks for being here. I'm new, and oh, by the way, I have a podcast. You got to hear this. And then they turn it on, and I'm telling Kenny to go fuck himself. Can you imagine that? That'd be a little weird, in my opinion. So I'm very, very... I'm looking out more for the radio station. Amanda says, are you still going to do flirty shit with that woman that talks? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Does that mean like the station voice who says the Insane Asylum with Eric Zane? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know about that, if that's what you mean. And then she says, and then fake news stories, because that would be awesome. Fake news stories. Again, I'm starting to pick up, Amanda, that I think you have a brain tumor. When you write, it's so horrible. The level of I can't remember a time that I've read what you wrote and thought, this makes perfect sense and is a well-worded question. Have you ever thought to maybe just say it out loud and see if it sounds retarded or not? Because when I read the thoughts that are in your brain that come out, you just sound eternally stupid. And I know you're not. But it's just so bad. It's really bad. You gotta learn to write like a big girl. I know you can do this. No punctuation. It's just a complete catastrophe. Hurricane Ashley is here. She says, are you and Kenny fighting again? No. Negative. Ashley says, or Kenny says, about time you showed up. And then Kenny describes it as love, hate, love, LOL. Cole says maybe she means JC's Tales from the Road. Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, I can't, you see how what Cole did? He actually thought that no one should be deciphering what you say. You should just explain it better. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Aram says, with that woman that talks, what the hell is that referring to? Yeah, it's exactly. I had to piece that together. You can't ask me these questions that are just half formulated in your brain. Maybe save it for when we're actually having a conversation. God forbid if that ever happens. So I want you folks to dig deep about what you want to hear on this radio station. The music that you want to hear. But the one thing I do want to say is that I'm not right away going to be playing requests. But because I'll be so goddamn nervous, it might take a day or two to actually get up to speed. But like legit requests. This is the first time in my life, except for college. This is going to sound crazy, that I've worked at a radio station that plays requests. That is a myth. When I started in 1991 or 1990, whatever it was, at Z93, there's no requests. The program director is always like, no, we're not doing that. We're not playing requests. So this is really rare. Really, really rare. Ryan says, you really want to give Northern Michigans a rock hard boner? You should hire Kelly as your voiceover intro. Make sure it includes a lot of crispy R's in the copy that you make her read. Cole says, first song, Guns N' Roses, Hair of the Dog. The thing about the playlist is, like I indicated, there's a lot of songs that I just don't recognize. Lonely Boy, Black Keys. Of course, I've heard that. Almost Hear You Sigh by the Rolling Stones. Never heard that. A live acoustic version of Ted Nugent's Fred Bear. Blackbird by the Beatles. Great song. A song by Chris Cornell called Can't Change Me. Very old Doors song. They're all old. Land Ho by the Doors. In the Midnight Hour by the Commitments. John Hyatt, Cry Love. Hold Me Lord, Eric Clapton. Forget Me Not, Bad English. In the Evening, Led Zeppelin. Fame, David Bowie. Every Breaking Wave by U2. In the Shape of the Heart, Jackson Brown. Kryptonite, Three Doors Down. Walking in L.A., Missing Persons. Live and Let Die, Paul McCartney. White Room, Live, Cream. Fifth Avenue, Heartache, Wallflowers. Need You Tonight, In Excess. Shining On, Grand Funk Railroad. Positive Vibrations, 10 Years After. Joe Walsh, Van Morrison, David and David. And not Welcome to the Boomtown. John Waite, Bruce Springsteen. Song by Springsteen I've never heard before called Sherry Darling. I think it's off of The River. Song by Lenny Kravitz I've never heard of. In fact, it says The Pleasure and the ... It can't even fit the title in. So that gives you an idea of what's up. I don't know if Fuck the Pain Away by Peaches is going to make the playlist. Kenny says, hold on a second. Comments are flying at me. Presidents of the United States. I love them. Peaches. Awesome song. Kenny says, I kind of want to hear the WBBL intro again. Back in the Saddle. Yeah, I won't play the intro. Amanda says, I'm so glad you said Live and Let Die. I'm so glad you said Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney. Because if I hear Live and Let Die by Guns N' Roses one more time, I'm going to beat the radio senseless. That's at work. Okay, cool. Love you. All right. That's pretty much it, you know? There's also the element of, if I go up north, you know, I'll just wake up. Oh, the exact location of the radio station. This is also cool. It's 5 miles away from Fear Bunker North. The way I discovered this radio station was just before I went on with the Zane Asylum on the overnight, I was listening to the radio station while I was up north. So I'm like, you know, whatever, sitting around the fire. I'm like, God damn, this radio station is cool. And I actually, some of you may remember this, I reached out to them, left them a nice message, and said, look, I really love your radio station. I am. This is who I am. This is what I do. I've been around radio a long time. I've never heard anything like this. This is so fantastic. 2 days later, I had Jerry and Cheryl on this podcast, and I was speaking to them, and I introduced the audience to them, and I said, well, this is just so great. It's a great story. And, you know, I got the lowdown, and then I actually met JC in person up at the radio station, and he invited me in, and I sat in with him for a portion of an afternoon. And then he said, hey, why don't you do a show here? And I go, yeah, you know, I think I'd like that. And then the Zane Asylum was born. So I started making that show here, sending it up to them, just send them 8 segments, put it up on Patreon, and there we go. I've loved it. That is how that all got started. 6 years prior to that, so that would be 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I was in a restaurant in Grayling, and it's called the Coca-Cola restaurant. You go in there, and all it is a museum of Coca-Cola. It's actually for sale right now. The guy who owns it is a dude by the name of Bill Gannon. And I sit down with Diana and I'm looking at the memorabilia, and the kids are there, and this is kind of fun, whatever. And Bill Gannon also owns, believe it or not, a Fred Bear museum right next door to it. It's called Bear Pizza. That sounds weird. And then part of Bear Pizza is a museum for Fred Bear, the Fred Bear. You're like, wait, why? In case you don't know, Fred Bear, one of the true pioneers of modern archery hunting, began making his signature archery equipment in Grayling, Michigan. He had a vast knowledge of hunting and woodworking because he, for working for General Motors, I think, or Ford, would make stained wood pieces that would go on the inside of your vehicle. And his knowledge of the wood led him to making his own brand of archery equipment, bows. Well, his factory started in like his house in Grayling, and then he started to expand and build his empire of archery equipment all right there. In fact, 2 weeks ago, they actually unveiled a statue of Fred Bear right there. That's the place. So there's a long, rich history with Fred Bear. And this guy, this Bill Gannon, he owns Coca-Cola restaurant. Right next to it is Bear Pizza with Fred Bear Museum. Fred Bear's car is in the restaurant. He had this old Mustang, one of those garbage ones with a V6 in it. And he actually has the car inside of the restaurant. It's unbelievable. It's definitely a tourist thing that you have to see there. Well, anyway, I'm in this Coca-Cola restaurant, and I strike up a conversation with this guy. I don't know who he is. And he goes, yeah, this is mine. I go, oh, wow. I go, that's kind of cool. And then we stumble into the conversation. And he says, yeah, I own a radio station. And it's Q100. But at the time, it's not Q100. It's a radio station that he's trying to unload because he doesn't want it anymore. And he's not like running it efficiently. It's kind of like has piped in satellite sound from the middle of nowhere. Well, so I found that I had this interaction with him, and then I just filed it in my brain. Okay. I don't think about this radio station again till 6 years later when I hear Q100. What had happened during those 6 years was Jerry and Cheryl, the people who just hired me, they decided that they wanted to buy a radio station and move up north. Jerry tells me that he sees this property, Q100, for sale. And actually, it wasn't even for sale. He just saw the property. Jerry reaches out to Bill Gannon, guy who's waiting on me at the restaurant, and says, hey, and makes a proposal. 3 minutes later, Jerry's phone rings. It's Guy, Bill. And then they started to fucking talk turkey. Eventually, it's sold outright. Bill sells it to Jerry and Cheryl. There's all sorts of story I don't even know the ins and outs of it. But when I mentioned the name Bill to Jerry, his eyes rolled. He was like, oh, God. I guess it wasn't exactly the cleanest sale, but it worked out. So then there they are. They're off and running with their radio station. Cheryl, with a knowledge of radio sales, that is her background. She sold for years and was a boss in Detroit selling ads at the number 6 radio market in America. Well, and frankly, that's the number one thing that you want to have in your pocket. Somebody who can sell. She can sell anything. So then there they are. They got their microphones. They got their idea, and they're building, and that's about it. So it's right in Grayling. You saw a picture that I posted of me. I told you the story about how I walked into the radio station last week, Wednesday, and I was greeted by the station dog. And this, to me, was an omen. This was a sign that this is absolutely the perfect place for me to be in. When I walk into the radio station in the middle of the woods, Grayling, Michigan, and there's a dog tug toy on the floor of the radio station. And then I'm like, uh-oh, I love dogs. I wonder what I'm about to stumble upon. And then out from around the corner is the most handsome boy bulldog you will see. Look at that fella. That is Louie. And there he is giving me a run for my money. Of course, some folks saw this picture and were like, oh, my God, look at that carpet. Yeah, make no mistake. This is an old building. This is my type of place to work. Okay, this is the type of place that I worked at when I started at Z93. All right. I don't know if it's officially a double wide, but it has some real modular appearance to it. And I fucking love it. I am stoked about this. I just can't wait. So yeah, man, it's just cool. It's really great. Despite what Rick from TC thinks. Rick thinks I'm gonna fail. Rick's like, oh yeah, podcast is over. That's why. Well, like it can't be over because the radio station's not paying me enough to survive. They're paying me like a contractor because I am, and that's fair. That's we settled upon a deal that was fair to both, and I was happy with it. And it was a quick negotiation. I want these people to succeed very much so. So I plan on working very, very hard to help them with that. Being that I have not been on the air in Morning Drive in this type of capacity with this much, I don't want to say pressure, but there's a lot riding on it. I think I'm smarter now. I have been, I think the realization upon getting fired after the heights that we achieved, Morning Drive at GRD, that has allowed me to understand, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was under the impression that it was impossible to fire me. I had that opinion of myself. And, well, I couldn't have been more wrong now, could I? And I feel like that has made me a more valuable asset because if people are depending on me, and they are, and I have the attitude like, yeah, you can be shown the door in an instant. Doesn't matter how good you are at whatever. If you are even any good, here's to God willing that I am. I would say that the arrogance of me ended up being more, leading more to my undoing than anything. I'll be the first one to admit that. But it's not there anymore because it's clear that you can fuck it up. So I'm just excited about being part of a team and actually being there and helping them out and being back on the air regularly. Kenny says you started doing the Zane Asylum just for fun, right? That is correct. No salary even. Correct. I've never made a penny from these people. He says now it's turned into this. That's pretty awesome. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. He says, I love how this all worked out for you. Yeah, it did happen to just work out. And like I said, when Jerry said, hey, how about you take this job? You were my number one. I just didn't think you'd be interested. And I was like, well, holy shit. That is that is excellent. All right, seems to be a fight between Kenny and Amanda. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Kenny, I see. Kenny said that Guns N' Roses did the song Live and Let Die better. Megan says, can I get a bigger sign? Well, of course you can get a bigger sign. Get me a bigger sign? You got a whole wall with your name on it, madam. And then Amanda's telling Kenny to fuck off. Oh, my God. Come on now. Any band covering a Beatles song is better than the Beatles, Kenny says. Boy, you really know how to piss her off. And then Cole says the same thing. I love the Beatles. But if that means pissing Amanda off, I can just say the Beatles suck. Amanda says, apparently a double wide is not modular unless it's on a basement or foundation. Shut up. Who cares? Live and Let Die isn't the Beatles. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's definitely the Beatles. What are you talking about? It's on the White Album, Live and Let Die, the Beatles. It definitely, Kent says it wasn't a Beatles song. Yeah, it was. I'm looking right at it. It showed up on the White Album, and it showed up on Abbey Road. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You got it wrong. I know that, you assholes. It was a misspeak. Jesus. Okay, so that's the long and the short of it. So that starts on Monday. This show will start at 10. Finish up the radio show, get right after the podcast, get done with the podcast, get right after the Patreon, and then that's it. Just let you have it. Then edit, post, day is done. Stripe parking lots with Timmy Mayer. My God. EZ, why are you working so much? Well, there's nothing else to do. What the fuck else am I supposed to do? Sit around. I can no longer run. I can no longer do my exercises that I love to do. That's killing me. Get out and stripe some parking lots with Timmy Mayer. An absolute saint. Love that guy. Rebecca says you got to pay those taxes. Yeah, in case you don't know, I am in for over right now, as it stands. It might go down, but I'm in for 20,000 plus. 20,000 plus by April 15. I got to get the money to the Cook County assessors. Ashley has trumped it. Yesterday she said 12, and she says now it's 29,000. Wow. What about how does that even happen? When you were working, do they not take taxes out, or are you like you have to pay it on your own? Is that how that works? That's interesting to me, how you could have that much of a discrepancy. Linda says, EZ, how about rest? Linda, and this is perfect, because when you are old like us, you have to consider the rest thing. So if I'm getting up early and doing all that shit, talking, I'm probably going to be exhausted. So EZ, when are you going to rest? Now, at this point in time, there are no plans to rest. It is just work, 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 and then at nighttime, go to bed. Now, that may change. Day one. But I figure if I can be in bed by 8, which honestly, that's a thing I like to do, even now when I get up at in the 6 o'clock hour. If I can get 7-8 hours on the overnight, I think I'm in good shape. I might need like a 15-minute nap somewhere in the middle of that. But I am ready to make fucking fat stacks. I am selling my body to the highest bidder. And right now the bidder is Timmy Mayer, JC, Cheryl Coyne, and you. Before we continue, I have an update. I should say this. When we continue, because I'm going to talk about some sponsors here in a second. And you are not going to bump ahead on the audio podcast. I have some aftermath on the discussion yesterday about Tyler A. and his looking for advice with his ex-wife about daddy-daughter dance. I have some comments, long form in email. I have an update from Tyler himself has weighed in. I'll even quickly get you up to speed on the ins and outs of what he was talking about and my opinion about it. And also, we will touch on the horrible advice that perpetual bachelor Kenny gave. Ashley, in for 29 large to the government, says, I'm selling Buddy. Any offers? Her dog. I don't think she's going to sell the dog. She says, do I have 29,000? Absolutely not. She says, I'm offering anal, Buddy, anything. So if any of you are interested in anal, you can reach out to Ashley. Kenny says, LOL, WTF. I guarantee you his dick is elevated off the sack with that comment. Ryan says, Ashley, jizz painting can be quite profitable, I understand. Ashley says, I'll be the best at it. Amanda suggests OnlyFans. Ashley adds, what is the street value for butt sex? I don't know. A lot of strange things happening on this show. All right. Again, these are things I will not talk about on the radio. Honestly, I don't know where my personality is going to wind up. It's kind of like take it as it happens when it comes to on the radio. If anyone from the radio station is actually hearing what I'm saying right now, trust me, you are not going to get this level of Eric Zane. We haven't gotten that far yet. Hang on, I got to sneeze. Oh, that's painful. All right. For the audience who's enjoying the show on Facebook, X, and YouTube, it's time to leave. But I want to remind you that you can get the full show on Twitch. Download the Twitch app and then search Eric Zane Live. Audio podcast. This becomes the audio podcast. Wherever you download shows, subscribe, rate, and review. Patreon. Patreon is at patreon.com. You can sign up for free for 7 days. I do a second podcast when this one is done. Found at patreon.com/Eric Zane. This week, I'll be doing Who Are These Free Beers with Ben Glaze on Thursday, as well as the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. For a Big Fraud Thursday, we'll be breaking down the Free Beer and Hot Wings segment where they talk about the different shapes of butter. I'm talking about Ben's big trip to Las Vegas. I cannot wait to get the details of that. As he just got back yesterday. So there you go. Thanks again for the folks on Facebook, X, and YouTube for being here for part of this show. And don't forget to download the Q100 app. On the App Store, just search Q100 Michigan and download the app. All right. Facebook and Twitch. Brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. X, brought to you by Blue Frost IT. Follow me on those platforms, as well as my YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram as well. I think it's Eric Zane Show on Instagram. I don't even remember. You can only do so much. You know, I mean, if I took the time, all right, I'm on TikTok. I'm on that. Now, I have all these. But I'm like, I don't know. It gets to a point where you're just spending too much time posting to social media, goddammit. And I just can't take it. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw this story. And you know what? I'll save it because if I get bogged down anymore, I'll end up finishing the show with 15 minutes of commercials. I don't want to do that. All right. Okay. Tuesday. Where is Tuesday? The open and live stream of this show right here brought to you by Blue Frost IT. Online at bluefrostit.com, the managed IT service provider for the Eric Zane Show podcast. You can reach out to them at 616-200-8550, longtime sponsor. Thank you so much. I have a vouch store. That is a way for you to support the show and small business and get great products. Go to my vouch store. It's at vouch.store/Eric Zane. Link in the show notes of the audio podcast. And check out my products for sale. The goal in March, sell 3. I sold 2 last month. So let's get 3. You can choose from either a brand new toothbrush called the Toothbrush. Might be the best toothbrush ever made. I don't know, probably. Camp Craft cocktails, which are basically mason jars filled with dried fruit that you pour booze into and let them steep for a couple of days to have fruit-infused booze to lead the charge on your mixed drinks. Rum, gin. You can make an old-fashioned. You can make your own sangria. It's really, really cool. Vouch.store/Eric Zane. Thank you to Frank Fuss, My Policy Shop Insurance. When you are in need for anything insurance-wise, let's talk a little life insurance. For the love of God, you definitely want to call Frank Fuss at buyinsurancehere.com. He will help you make your choices. I'm in the process right now with Frank of getting a brand new life insurance policy because the one I'm in right now is expiring. I've lived beyond the life of the policy. It was a 20-year policy, and it's just about done. So new policy being purchased right now to keep us sound in the event of an unlikely passing. You do this, you take care of your family, especially you young families. It's going to cost you next to nothing if you are a super preferred customer, like Tyler over there. Tyler Kerr, I always use him as an example. Young man, has children, has a wife. He would be super preferred, great health. He's going to pay very little to insure his family. You should do the same today. Reach out to Frank Fuss at buyinsurancehere.com for more info. Grand Rapids Gold basketball, we have 4 games remaining. All right, we got a game Saturday at Van Andel Arena. That is an early start. Noon for that one. Coming up. Noon, and there you go. You can get your tickets at grandrapidsgold.com. I will see you at a Grand Rapids Gold game. We had a fantastic crowd last time we were there. Thank you so much to everybody who came out. It was a good time. All right, last one. Tag Accounting. Okay, the number one tax professional in all of the land. Doesn't matter where you are, reach out to Tag Accounting, and he will make you very happy when it comes to the your tax return at the end of the year. You know, if you're like me, not everybody's going to be in for 20 large. What happened? You're like, easy, that's a bad endorsement. It's like, well, that's not his fault. I took a bunch of cash out of my retirement and raised my tax bracket. It's nothing he can do for that. Still have to pay my fair share. Those are the rules. Anyway, it sure is a blessing to have a professional like Tag Accounting doing this for me. He takes care of my business taxes and my personal taxes, does the NFK's taxes, Madison's taxes. Even the simplest of returns should be done by a tax professional. No matter where you are in the U.S., reach out, call 616-301-9516. Tag Accounting online at tagcpa.net. All right. Concerning yesterday, in case you don't know, Tyler reached out. He said, look, I got this deal going on where last year my 5-year-old went to the daddy-daughter dance with me. The ex-wife and I. Ex-wife said, hey, how about every year like you take the kid, and then the next year my boyfriend or husband or whatever, stepdad, he'll take the kid. His response was, well, whatever she thinks. Well, this turns out to be a catastrophe because the kid's like, hey, Daddy, I want you to take me to the father-daughter dance. And so he reaches out to Mom, says, yeah, I'll be taking her to the daddy-daughter dance. Well, this starts a whole, I'm glossing over the story. There's a lot of ins and outs, and we talked about it quite a bit on here. And this led to all sorts of heartache, pissed off feelings, shit like that. Well, I have updates. First of all, let me get, let's see, Eric has an opinion on this. Eric from Kalamazoo, he just sent it. He says, Easy, you are giving Tyler A. the absolute worst advice you possibly could. Because I said, you need to make good with the mom, let this go, and keep it a positive relationship with you and the mom so that in terms of what your daughter sees, she is not in the middle of this. This could have devastating effects. I'm of this opinion that if you guys are not getting along and fighting, it is going to have devastating effects on the little one. And I said I speak from experience because I was that kid. Eric doesn't think so. He says, you're giving the gentleman the absolute worst advice you possibly could. Kenny is absolutely correct. He says, courts are more and more leaning towards 50-50 custody. Well, let me stop you right there. This discussion we had was not about suing over custody. This discussion was about the daddy-daughter dance. I made it very, very clear when we were talking that we don't know any of those details. All I could weigh in on was what Tyler let me weigh in on. It's always amazing to me when people like Eric from Kalamazoo or Kenny don't actually listen to what I'm talking about. Kenny was brutalized yesterday because he gets so wound up because he thinks that he's living vicariously through Tyler. Say, no, you go fight. You go fight. You go fight and get what's yours, mate. Say, well, look, dude, we're talking about daddy-daughter dance. We're talking about apples. You're talking about oranges. Anyway, Eric, I don't even know why I'm even bothering reading this. He didn't even listen to a goddamn word I said. He said, courts are more and more leaning towards 50-50 custody as the standard, and that is how it should be. If this guy's only getting 6 days a month, him and his daughter are getting screwed. You see, you just blurting that out, and you don't know any of the dynamic between anyone there. You don't. I don't. You might be right. You might be wrong. But I know this. I wouldn't dare just say, oh, yeah, he's getting screwed without knowing. You don't know, you fucking moron. This guy absolutely needs to get a lawyer and work towards 50-50 custody in writing. There is no circumstance that an issue this important should be left up to the mother's mood. Again, we don't know that. You're being fucking retarded on this issue, Zane. Signed, Eric from Kalamazoo. Disagree. Tyler A. was well on his way to getting what he wanted. He was up to, in his words, 8 days a month. All right? That is 7 shy of 50-50. All right? And making progress toward it. You got to understand. You got to play the long game in these scenarios. The kid's only 5 or 6, and you're already up to 8 days. She, at some point, is going to want to get a little bit more freedom with new guy. And that's where you benefit. So be facilitating. You can facilitate all of that with just with working with her. I guarantee you, if I was divorced, let's just say it blew up between Pooh Bear and I. God forbid. That even scares me just saying it. But I would crush it. I would be the best. I would be so easy to work with because I want to get what I want. And I know that there would be a way to get what I want. All right? I don't care how pissed off. Let's say Pooh Bear walked in on me and there was a reverse gangbang with 17 black chicks. And it was great. And she's like, oh, my God, I'm leaving you. This is terrible. Get out. Fuck you. Within due time, I would have had 50-50 custody and probably having sex with Pooh Bear again. All right? This is ridiculous. It's not my fault you fucking egocentric asshole divorced dads can't get your shit together and work with the ex, you fucking dummies. I'd be the best divorce husband. Let's see. Tyler A. weighs in. The guy. In fact, after I got done with that show, He says, easy, I definitely feel like I made a mistake, talking about his approach with the ex. I'm all about keeping the peace, and I'm not one to fight on something as trivial as a daddy-daughter dance. That being said, this is just another instance of my ex putting her husband or stepdad ahead of me. It's been going on for the entire 5 years. If it wasn't this, it would have likely been something else. And I wrote, yeah, but what did you expect? Of course she's going to put the new guy in front of you. You know, she lives with him. That's the guy she loves. She used to love you. Shit went haywire. Now she's with new dude. That's going to happen. I said, you're fine. I'm confident that you'll turn it around. P.S. Never, ever listen. P.S. Never, ever listen to Kenny. He's a dumbass. He writes, good morning, Easy. 1 hour ago. A quick and final update. I have decided to let the stepdad take my daughter to the dance. Well, honestly, I don't think you had a choice in this. You're just, okay, I think you need to accept. I think the words you need to say is, I think I need to accept this. Hopefully things will smooth out. If there is a fight to be had, now is not the time. Thanks for the advice. It made for an entertaining show. Something about going to the Special Olympics to find some pussy. Right. That was a joke about Kenny. I said, it's not my fault that you pick out terrible women to marry. And the idea of Kenny going to the Special Olympics event to, quote, I'm going to find some pussy. Have a great day, Tyler. Yeah, I went so far as to say, dude, you need to reach out to her and say, you know, I don't know what I was thinking. This is all silly. Pardon me. Can we just have take a mulligan? Sorry about this. And yeah, I don't want anything to get in the way of our daughter's growth and her love for her family. I understand this is a unique dynamic. Well, not really. It's it happens a lot. We all got to work together for her benefit. So, you know, I'm of the mindset going forward that cooperation is key. Chalk it up to just me getting in the way of my own feelings. No big deal. Live to fight another day. Next thing you know, you've got 9-10 days out of 30. Okay? Play your hand, long game. And then this way, you're not spending an arm and a leg on a lawyer and dragging the kid into this shit. It's like, come on. This is so simple. So anyone who has the opinion of dumb shit Eric by saying that I'm giving the worst advice possible, Eric's probably in the throes of a war right now. And Kenny's just too far gone. Never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, take advice from Kenny. That is a hard and fast rule. In fact, if you're drowning and Kenny throws you a life raft and says, grab this, you should go underwater and breathe the water. Whatever the suggestion is, don't ever listen to Kenny. He is the absolute worst. Patrick writes, EZ, I agree with everything you said on the podcast regarding Tyler's situation. He's a divorced father, by the way, with a son. I appreciate your perspective on how you grew up as a child of divorce and how that affected you. I will say the court system is backwards. They will give primary custody to a bad mom over a good dad from what I've seen. Okay? Now, I understand that that's coming up, but that isn't really the focus of what we talked about. I keep having to remind people of that. Maybe. I don't know. I've not been in it, and maybe you had a bad experience. I have no idea. I mean, it might be that Kenny has 50-50 right now simply because his ex-wives, you know, are wearing helmets and are shitting in their hands. That's the type of scenario there. Patrick says, I understand the yanks by some today because of the discriminatory and backwards practices of family law in many places. Sounds to me like Tyler wants more time with his daughter and the opportunity to be a dad. And if it's that simple, my heart breaks for him. You brought up a great point that we don't know his situation. If he's done nothing wrong, he might deserve more time with his daughter. Lawyers, like you mentioned, are extremely expensive and don't guarantee any results. If there are extenuating circumstances that favor Tyler, getting a lawyer might not be a bad idea. Just because you go to court, though, you don't have to discuss this with the child. Speak poorly about her mom or manipulate the child in any way. Kids are smart. They will be able to decipher the nonsense just like you were able to, Eric. So speaking poorly about one another is not only abusive, it's a lose-lose situation. Like you said, if you can just be kind to each other and work things out, that would be best for all parties. I do know that men get hosed in a lot of these circumstances. That bothers me, and I believe that's what bothered Kenny. I know you know this. Besides that, I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania 40. Hopefully, Cody will complete his story. Also looking forward to Samaritan 2, and most of all, the triumphant return of the Toon Man on Monday. Signed, Patrick. Oh, yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Including that the parents have to work together, which is what Tyler's doing now. That's great. And when it comes to the court system about people getting hosed, I mean, I can only take the word of you and people like Kenny. I understand that might be the case, but that was never the point of the discussion that we had. It was all about daddy-daughter dance, and people kind of cultivated, Kenny in particular, cultivated a different set of scenarios that it's like, you should sue right away. Oh my God. Yeah, a lot of these wrestling fans are pissed off about Cody Rhodes and WrestleMania and all that shit. It's like, God damn it, man. I don't know about that. I don't know if I can get on board with that one. Ashley's in trouble. We all know it is not a good idea to tell me what to do. If anybody ever tells me, move on, let's end this story, you are public enemy number one. So that means you will be sitting down for a nice 10 minutes, you loudmouth single hag. That is an instant red card. So sit around, be lonely, come up with ways to raise your $29,000 and enjoy yourself because you aren't speaking for 10 minutes. And if you show up here again and try that shit, I'm throwing you out on your fucking face again, hag. Unacceptable. The quickest way to upset your old pal EZ is to take what I'm doing and drop that on me. Ryan says that hammer snap needed more Ashley impression. Without a doubt. Fuck you. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. Fuck you. I fucking love you. I fucking hate you. You're such an asshole. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I should get shit because I'm pretty. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. 29,000. Can I just pay for it and pretty? You're fucking crazy, Uncle Sam. I'll fuck you. I'll fuck you for 29,000, Uncle Sam. Oh my God. I fucking love Uncle Sam. I fucking hate him. I love Al Qaeda. Fuck Al Qaeda. Fuck you. We gotta see my titties. Oh my God. I cannot believe you did that. Fuck you. Move on. This is fucking boring. I'm so tired of this. Mitch says, wait, she owes $29,000 in taxes. I thought owing $9,000 was bad. Yeah, she just unveiled that. Megan says, I thought it was 14. Actually, yesterday she said 12, but now it's somehow 29. I don't know how you do that. There are some people who don't make $29,000 a year. Yeah, I'm fucking rich. I'm a rich whore. Fuck you. Fuck off. I hate taxes. I fucking love them. Fuck you. Fuck off. Die. I love you forever. Fuck you. All right, so Ashley sits at home. It's damn good, too, because I'm looking at her, and she's all over the thing, talking about nonsense. It's the Ashley show today. Speaking of Ashley, it's too bad she's not here with us for the next 8 minutes, because we are fast approaching Flying Laptop Day. Another year is back with Flying Laptop Day. It was March 17th, was it 2018? When Ashley and Saint Gaslight were together in a hotel room in some community near Chicago. And then the next thing you know, there's fucking electronics flying out of the window that Ashley threw out the window because she was pissed off about something. I think the story was there was a conversation happening electronically between Saint Gaslight and a woman that was not Ashley. From what I understand, the story goes, which might be fictional or alleged, to keep myself legal, I think. She then started throwing the fucking electronics out the window. Next thing you know, cops are there. Next thing you know, Saint Gaslight's in jail. I was tipped off that there might be a problem. This is how it all unfolded. I was tipped off by a person in radio that Joe was arrested. A person at a TV station tipped off my contact, who tipped off me. And I'm like, wait a minute. So then I looked it up, and sure enough, there's Joe's mugshot. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. What the fuck is going on? That's what was going on. So we honor Flying Laptop Day around here. It's a legendary day. It's fucking terrible. All this shit happened. It was awful. Linda writes, my birthday card to Meathead is in the mail today. Flying Laptop Day is also my dad's birthday. 90 years old. Okay, stay right there, folks. EZ has to go potty. So I will take a quick one and a quick break and be right back with you. Don't go anywhere, okay? All right. I got a text from our beloved Ashley. I was talking to Kenny, you dumb cunt. What do you mean you were talking to Kenny? If you were talking to Kenny, first of all, wouldn't it be nice to actually do a show where the audience, like, you know, we talk about on the chat about what's actually going on the show? Username 12989 says, I'm late. What station is he working at? It's over my shoulder. Q100. Download the app. Search Q100 Michigan in the App Store. Kenny says, Wait, she's telling me to end the topic? I'm not in control of that. She knows that. Yeah, don't even worry about it. She's an idiot. That's what's going on here. You know? Most people, when they do what she did, they go, oops, sorry, EZ. Not her. She digs her heels in, and she's going to turn into a first class. Well, she is. She's the first class twat. She invented the term twat. Look, she doesn't even care what we're talking about. She's not even here. She bugged out. Fuck him. If I can't be on there commanding everyone's attention talking about how I want anal, fuck them. I want to be able to say shit so I can get a reaction. I'm only here to say fucked up shit and make everybody think I'm into anal. Shut up, dumbass. Ryan says, I don't think this has ever happened to me. I'm clearly able to use common sense and reasoning. Yeah, you're normal. If you're a person who's been banned before, like with regularity, I'm talking to the usual suspects. Yeah, there's something wrong with those people. All right, there's a glaring problem. There's a glaring glitch in the matrix. These are disturbed individuals. Corey says Ashley just makes Joe look not as bad. That's like the worst thing you could possibly say. Now she really wants you to die. Corey pisses people off. There's no question. There's no question. Megan is watching the Ottawa County Commission meeting while this is going on. And someone has a shirt on that says FOIA and find out in the front row. Joe Spalding is getting heckled big time because he'd like Commissioner Curran to do faith healings outside of the hospital for community members like she did in Best Buy. Oh, they're yelling at each other in the other room. I know what Spalding's talking about. Curran. There's a video that exists, which I think I can get to. Of Curran speaking on a video about how she did a faith healing. I've been meaning to play it. In fact, let me send it to myself. It'll take me a second to get this going. Rebecca Curran is one of the Ottawa County commissioners. And I think she's running for a state senate or some shit like that. Okay, copy link. Give me a second here. This is something you got to see. I know I'm doing something I don't normally like to do. And that is on the fly do this, but it's worth mentioning because of the rabbit hole I just went down. Yeah, she's running for, she's one of these Ottawa County, Ottawa Impact Commissioners, and is now turning her sights on an elected position, running for Senate. And she is, at the time of this video, was part of an organization, some church group, and they shot a video of her talking about how she's a faith healer. So when Joe Spalding is at the county commission meeting, trolling by saying, hey, in the interest of public health, can we please have Rebecca Curran show up outside of the med center or the hospital to do faith healings? That's hilarious. I hope, yeah, okay, audio check, video check. This is great. Check it out.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Curran, and I'm a volunteer at the Healing Room. And while I am out and about, I look for opportunities to spread the love of Christ and pray for people who have physical needs. And I happened to notice when I was shopping at a Best Buy that there was a lady with a knee brace on. So I asked her if it was okay if I prayed for her, and she said yes. And she works as a merchandiser, and she gets up and down all the time, and she just has a lot of knee pain and knee issues. So a
lot of vocal fry, and sorry about the low level. There's nothing I can do about that. I got it maxed out. So Rebecca's like, oh, I'm gonna help this lady.
Went ahead and prayed and just asked the Holy Spirit to replace her knee and give her a brand new knee. And while I was praying, I felt like something like twitch in her knee. And I wasn't sure if she had moved or not, but and I felt the power of God. I felt the warmth, and I felt the Holy Spirit working on her knee. So after I was finished praying, I asked her if she had felt anything, and she said, yeah, I felt my knee move, and I felt it popping inside of my knee. And she's like, that wasn't me, I wasn't moving it. And I was like, oh wow, like I felt that too, that's really neat. I wasn't sure what that was. So I know that God touched her, and she said that her pain went away. So was just so excited to see God touch her and heal her.
I like how you said it was really neat. As a need.
It is.
That's right.
Okay. That is I don't know what the fuck that is. What is happening? Jesus. That is well, that's frankly disturbing. I don't know what the tone, like she's telling a story about how she ran into an old friend. Oh yeah, I figured I'd give her some healing. Hey God, she needs a new knee. I mean, why stop there? If you can, I healed her knee. I mean, why didn't you go to the goddamn neonatal critical care unit, whatever, and maybe help those babies that are dying? Aram says, why is she wasting time sitting there? She should be out healing people. Yeah, the nerve. And how dumb are people to believe this shit? I mean, I believe in baby Jesus. I'm team baby Jesus. Okay, I have said this unabashed that I heard a voice in my own head. I mean, it wasn't like in the room, like I could hear the dog barking, but what I thought at the moment when it came down to giving the kidney to Jeffrey. I have said on the record that I felt God talk to me and said, do my will, Eric. And I said, well, God damn it. You damn it. I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. I'm going to give that fucking kidney away. Get that fucking kidney. 200 days later, Jeffrey's life is saved. I have said that was, I believe 100% that was the case. All right. I mean, I have no other explanation for it. Why would I've not been walking around. I've not been walking around saying, hey, one day I'm going to give my kidney to somebody. One day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do this or do that. I am 1,000,000% team baby Jesus. Okay? First of all, this is all a lie. It never happened. She never even saw that person. Can you imagine if you were working in your whatever it is you do and some wacko comes up to you and says they're going to heal you? That chick should have put her fucking fist right through Rebecca Curran's face. That's what should have happened. My God. So bad. And the arrogance, the tone, the, kind of like matter-of-fact way she describes something so incredible. If I was actually had the power to heal someone and I actually did heal them, I'm not going to be all laughy and silly and jokey like she was. You know, I'm not. I am going to be out healing the fucking world. If I actually had the power to heal, I'd be walking around saving everyone. Jesus. Tophus says they're fucking narcissists. Yes, they think they have the power of Christ. That's what they believe. Either that or she just knows that there's so many stupid people in the world that are going to believe her. It's probably a profit deal based on money. Get more people to give them money because they're doing faith healings. So when I see a secondhand the information that Spalding, who is a thorn in the side of Ottawa Impact, is getting heckled because he'd like Commissioner Curran to do faith healings outside of the hospital for community members like she did in Best Buy. Yes. You know, Spalding, his job is to just go there and give people shit. That's what the guy fucking does for a living. Let me text him. Getting reports from the field that you're in deep shit with the losers at the commission meeting, period. Do you want to get on the show to talk about it? Question mark. I just now played the video of Curran telling the story of healing a knee at Best Buy, period. I said Curran, and the goddamn thing says Karen. I really think we need to get voice to text more perfected. It's sometimes a pile of shit. Ryan says, perhaps this is the devil's work. This is full-blown Antichrist material. Adam says, unless Jesus Christ himself comes down to you and says you can heal people like I can, leave it to the medically licensed professionals. Corey says, oh, wow, Eric hit send before proofreading. That is not true. I changed Karen to Curran. Dumb fuck. No, this is perfect. I did read it beforehand. Didn't you see me make the change? You goddamn Weasley-voiced moron. If you ever want to hear America's worst voice, when you see that Chronic Mayhem is going live on Twitch. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my gaming channel. We're getting ready to play this pirate game. I'm so excited. Oh, wow. Look what I just did. What a dork. I can only handle like 90 seconds of it. Here we go. Welcome to my stream. Ugh. Corey says he plays Skull and Bones. Tophus, who's another nerd, says, I'm going to follow you. Ugh. So bad. I get on there and just talk shit. And then I realize it's just Corey and I. Tophus says he's a big-time nerd. I love nerds. Nerds are like my favorite people on the planet. Okay? I'm kind of a nerd myself. Occasionally, I will walk into, there's this comic book shop right down the street from iHeart. What's it called? Dark of Midnight, Dawn of Midnight, Blue of Midnight. And I walk in there, and I'm just kind of like looking at the comics. I never buy anything. And then after like about 3 minutes, I can feel the nerd. I mean, I look at the other patrons, and I'm like, look at these idiots. I hate these people. And then I just get the fuck out. I can't handle it. Yesterday, speaking of comics, last night I usually grab a stack of them because I have all these comics. And I stumble upon one I had forgotten that I have. And it's called House of Mystery. And it was, the price tag on it was 15 cents. I go, Jesus, this thing is old. And I have it. It's in like a plastic thing, and it's got like a backer on it, and I carefully open it up, and I pull it out, and I'm looking at the title, and it's very flat, and it's in excellent shape, very, very good shape. I would say 9.6 is about as high as you can get for how good it is, how pristine. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is 9.4. It's very difficult to get 9.6. It's impossible to get a 10. I open it up, and I look at the copyright. 1970. This comic was made the year I was born. This is a 54-year-old comic, and it looks to be very common, meaning it's not like issue 1. It's not issue 50 or 100. Usually if you get an issue 1 or a 50 or 100 or 150 or 200, those numbers, they tend to have a higher value. This is 85, but it's old. I go, I wonder what the value is. I look it up. And that goddamn comic, I immediately go, holy shit, and carefully put it back into its cover. It was laying on the ground with a shoe on it when I picked it up. Is worth $1,000. I'm like, God damn, I owe 20 to the government. We should unload this fucking thing. I probably won't, though. But anyway, if I'm inside of that comic shop, the people there are fucked up. They're beyond geek. They're buying all these role-playing games and masturbating on the pieces. It's bad. Bob says, did the dog start chewing on it? No, I got it up off of the floor, for God's sake. All right. Thank you to the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage, 231-332-6505. Amazing group of people. If you're thinking about buying, you need the mortgage first. No matter where you are in the U.S., consider Mario. 231-332-6505. I talked to the big fellow the other day. He's kind of got the blues. He goes, this market's killing me. I go, buddy, tie a rope and hang on. It's going to be fine. Get out there and grind. 231-332-6505. If you're thinking about it, call Mario, mention EZ, and get started on your mortgage today. First-time home buyers encouraged to call. Okay? He works with everybody. Not all mortgage personnel are created equal. Like that Kyle Ryan over there. He only wants to work with you if you're looking for $1 million mortgage. I'm kidding. Where the hell has he been anyway? Thank you to A&E Heating and Cooling, Joe Martinez, longtime sponsor. It's time to get that AC tuned up. For the love of God, call and schedule now. While the pickings aren't so slim, we aren't that far away here in West Michigan before we fire up the air conditioners. $79. It's all it's going to cost you to get it tuned up. 616-516-8579 for A&E Heating and Cooling. Call today. Or if you need a new AC or furnace, Joe Martinez can help you with that. Financing is available if you need it. Or just go to your bank, for God's sake. You can also install a water heater. Thank you, Joe Martinez. Impact Power Sports, online at impactpowersportsmi.com. Go shopping at Impact Power Sports, 14 Mile, Rockford. Walk in, grab a bag of popcorn, check out the selection of motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, UTVs, e-bikes. Those things are so damn cool. Golf carts. Get in on a Yamaha golf cart today. The number one brand of golf cart recently added to the lineup of products available at Impact Power Sports. You need a zero-turn mower. They've got those too. Fine selection for you to check out. Everything is repaired there. Local business. Support them. Mention EZ. They're online at impactpowersportsmi.com. They sponsor the studio. I do cameos. They're available at cameo.com/Eric Zane. $20. Hire me on Cameo. So much fun. When it comes to cannabis, there's only one place that I want you to go to. That is my sponsor, Green Medicine Shop. Now, they're nestled in the community of Greenville, Michigan, but they are one of the only medical dispensaries you will find in the area, and top-notch when it comes to cleanliness, service, and quality. All of their flowers on their cannabis products, a lot less yeast, 10 times less yeast and mold in their product, because a lot of times when you buy recreational cannabis, those counts are higher, and then they actually nuke them, put them into a microwave to kind of kill those. But those spores are still there, and they can still cause an allergic reaction. You're getting a cleaner flower when you go to The Green Medicine Shop, online at thegreenmedicineshop.com. Now, this is all medicinal cannabis, so there's no 10% excise tax that you would pay if you buy it recreationally. But you do need a med card. If you don't have a med card, if you do, just drive up and get whatever you want. Get your 2.5 ounces and go home. And get ready to go to the moon with cannabis, edibles, and CBD products. You go to thegreenmedicineshop.com, and it says, get your med card. Click on that and do it. It's going to take you 15 minutes. And then it's going to cost you $90, but you get a $100 in-store credit when you do it that way. So if you don't have a med card, get it through their website, only through their website. That's how you get the rebate. TheGreenMedicineShop.com. And finally, my man, Throat/Dale. Superior Cleaning and Power Washing, 231-740-4098. Call Dale if you want to book him for power washing. Pretty much snowplow season is done, but power washing's still a thing. He's taking scheduling right now, 231-740-4098. Driving Pooh Bear crazy. She's sending me text messages. All right, folks. It is time for the asshole of the day. Do you have any nominations? Yesterday, asshole of the day brought to you by TC Paintball was Kenny for being a stubborn fuck / bad dad. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit, Kenny does have to put up with a lot of shit. And I think he wouldn't have it any other way. I think I've been able to humiliate him enough so he's gotten out of that whole I need the Eric Zaitunian podcast. He knows that is not possible. All right. Today's asshole of the day brought to you by TC Paintball is Ashley. Hurricane Ashley is your asshole of the day for, first of all, telling me to change topics. That's never going to work. And then lying about it. And then pouting off like a crybaby after she was banned for 10 minutes. There you go. And Ryan even says, I'd like to nominate Ashley today. I think she's lovely and all, but this would be a great accomplishment for her. Yeah, she deserves this. Okay? I'm not even going to go with the lovely and all thing. Okay? She's butt ugly. Okay. That is it for me. Patreon starts in moments. Have a great one. Join me on Patreon. We're going to get started in just a few. More fun on Patreon. Until next time, folks. Bye-bye.